Welcome back to the program. You're still watching Daily Politics on Trust TV. A quick reminder, you can watch the show on the go by joining our YouTube and Facebook live streams. Feel free to stay in touch and be a part of the conversation. Speaking about the conversation, let's further the conversation with our next guest, who is the former PDP National Publicity Secretary, Mr. Kola Ologbondiyan, is joining the conversation to help us navigate some of the issues that have continued to emerge, especially regarding the weakening influence of some political parties in Nigeria and how the opposition itself seems to be in a bit of a chaos since it's the losses of the 2023 elections. Mr. Kola Ologbondiyan, thank you so much for joining us on the program.
Thank you very much.
Good to have you join us. You heard where we left the conversation with the national chairman of IPAC. He's talking about how as a politician himself, he's for more political parties. Let's pick up on that. What do you think? The 19 already that we have, some people think we have more than we need. It's about quality, it's not about quantity, but where do you stand on this one?
Where I stand is that the more the merrier. That's where I stand. That more parties can be allowed or to be registered. As a matter of fact, we should have liberty. Since the government after government is opposed to independent candidature, then people should be allowed to freely form political parties or associations. So that if they can't stand for election alone, they can choose to make a party, they can have a relationship, an alliance, so to say, with a party of their choice, and they can work with such parties. So when they win election, they can divide offices among themselves. I think it will be a welcome development if that is permitted.
You don't think it's going to water down the quality of the politics in the country as well as the electoral process, because it does cost a lot of money to put these elections together, especially when you have...
It will make our electoral process more competitive and create more value in the political system. For instance, because there are fewer parties, people who ordinarily are popular in their respective area or constituencies cannot vie for offices. You know why? They will not have enough money to participate in the internal election of the bigger parties. But if it is permitted, if it is allowed, you and I and a crop of others that live within the same environment can say, okay, we are putting forward a candidate in this election. We don't need to spend too much of money. GPS signal lost. Right. We don't need to spend too much of money in the primary, in the internal election of the party. And as a result of that, we can put up a candidate and just spend money at the election. And in most cases, because these people are known in their constituencies, members of the constituency might not need to collect money from them. They might not need any bribe. They have made up their mind about whom they will vote for.
Yeah. Some would say, Mr. Kola, you're talking as a politician, but if you're talking as a voter, which one is much easier? Choosing between 4 good political parties or choosing between 20 or 30?
Look, forget the issue of politics, whether I'm partisan in politics. If I'm partisan in politics, then I should say that, oh, there's no register more parties because it will make election competitive for my party. But the reality is that if you allow more parties, it makes the election more competitive. It offers the people, Nigerians, more areas of choice. You understand? So what you are looking at is the logistical cost. That's what you are saying.
Also the confusion that comes with too much choice.
No. If you allow parties to register, and with the scenario that I have painted, that, oh, okay, people living in the constituency can say, this will be our candidate. You understand? It doesn't bring too much cost on the ordinary people, right, on the people, the electorate who are going to vote. It won't. Yeah. It will help them.
You took part in the national conference. You were part of those who joined the 2-day national conference on strengthening Nigeria's democracy. Talk to me about some of the biggest takeaways, the ones that have made it into the headlines, especially some of the conversations or the positions that have been expressed by the former Kaduna State Governor, who talks about how the opposition has been a subject of a targeted attempt to undermine its viability, its formidability to the APC, which is the ruling party. What do you make of his points? And do you think that gives credence to what is happening to 2, if not the 3 main opposition parties, the PDP, the Labour Party, and the NNPP?
Okay, if we talk about the takeaways, I want to start from the guest speaker, the former vice president of Ghana. I cannot quickly remember his name.
Sabawumia, yeah.
Yeah. His position paper, which is what to me is the strongest point of the conference, is that politicians should think more about the voters. They should think more about the electorate. He created a scenario in which politicians go into election angling only on their own interest, forgetting that it is people that have elected them into offices. And he said that this is what is responsible for the devaluation of the political system. And I absolutely agree with him. So he was saying, in essence, that politicians will have it at the back of their mind, that they are going into their respective offices where they have been elected into to represent the people who put them in election. Look at what happened in the case of Nigeria here. You elect people to the various parliamentary houses, State Assembly, House of Rep, the Senate. You only see them when it's time for election. They don't bring, there's no feedback mechanism. There's no check on their constituents. Once you get to the cities or the towns, they start another life. And so doing, forget the electorate. So that was the point of emphasis that the former vice president of Ghana was a guest speaker raised. Going into the issue of the points raised by the former governor of Kaduna State, Madam Nasir El-Rufai. But he's saying the obvious, and I've said that today on other platforms. Parties have their internal problems, their internal challenges. But we are witnessing a situation of an enforcement from external factors, funding divisions in the party. So, and on one platform they say that, oh, why am I talking like this? I said, okay, take the example of my own party, the People's Democratic Party, where Ambassador Elias Umar Damagum is the chairman, acting chairman. Or you were brought in after your child you left to come and act, pending when the North Central Zone, the rightful owner of the seat, will bring a replacement.
Was that the agreement?
It doesn't require agreement. It's a constitutional matter. I'm sorry I didn't come with my constitution. I will have shown you. 47(6) of the PDP constitution is unambiguous. It's very clear.
But your governors backed him to stay in that position until the convention.
Look. Let me tell you something. So if there's money somewhere, and I came to tell you that there's money there, and say if you want to rob it, you can go and rob it. Then you go and rob it. Will you now come back and put the blame on me? If you are literate enough, will it not be sensible to you that you stand in for your act? So let us leave the issue of the governors. What does the law say? The constitution of the party, as amended in 2017, what does it say? What does it prescribe? You cannot choose and pick what part of the rule that guide the people, that guide an assemblage of people that you are going to obey. It's going to tell on you at the end of the day.
Is there a part where you blame PDP for the problems that PDP is going through? Where it's not because of an external force, it's just simply because the party is not playing by its own rules?
I've said that what I just said clearly. That, look, it's a convergence of issues. You have the internal factors. You have the external factors. So the one that has to do with the internal factors is disobedience to obey the rule. A situation in which a man is in acting capacity, he wants to turn himself to a substantive. You understand? And by so doing, he has gone to court and sued himself. He sued the other organs of the party and said, you cannot remove me. Whereas that's not what the law says. That's not what the constitution of the party says. So that is an internal issue. But we're also saying that these internal issues are being fueled externally. And it borders on the fact that the ruling party and its government do not want a party that will be strong enough to contest the presidential election with them.
In principle, is there anything wrong with that? Because if you're in power today, you wouldn't want a formidable opposition.
What do you mean that is there anything wrong with that? It's wrong for as much as we don't even want the parties to exist. And the consequence of that is the one-party state. I do not know when you were born, And I do not know how much of the military rule you witnessed. But we have seen democracy by my age, and I've seen the military rule. And I know the one that is better, and I can describe it. And on account of that, if you have an emperor presiding over the people, they have lost all their rights. And we are saying that the one-party state will naturally create an emperor situation.
Would you say the PDP during its reign was trying to create just that, a one-party state?
No. PDP never created.
You were eating all the smaller parties.
I will explain it to you.
Right.
There was no point at which PDP didn't allow the other parties to survive. If they didn't allow the other parties to survive, how come Kola, the current president, as governor of Lagos State, survived? How come under PDP, he created other political platforms that also won elections? How come he was able to buffer it to an extent that he can have an alignment with other political formations to win the national election? Let's look. Maybe because I belong to your profession, maybe because I'm your colleagues. In politics, I speak to the truth. I speak to facts, because facts are sacred. You understand?
Right.
So that was the point we are making.
Right.
We are not saying that come and win election for opposition parties. No, that's not the point. The point is that allow the opposition parties to survive to a level where they can also participate in the elections. But that's not what we are witnessing proceeding to 2027 election.
Right. Okay. Speaking of facts, the former vice president has made quite a damning allegation, saying that some members of the opposition are collecting the sum of 50 million naira to stay in the pocket of the ruling APC. First of all, what do you know about the facts of the matter in that case? Because the IPAC chairman just simply said he doesn't think that this is happening. He doesn't know what information the former vice president has. But this conversation has further muddied the water, and a lot of Nigerians are scratching their heads, struggling to understand whether this is the reality of things.
But his facts speaks for themselves now. It's only the vice president that is talking about it, about compromises in the opposition political parties. It's not only the vice president that is speaking about it. The issue of what's happening in PDP that I just raised is not part of the compromises that we are talking about. You may not be able to say, oh, so Mr. So-and-so collected so-and-so amount. But among the political class, these are regular talks, there are regular discussions, regular gists that people speak to. For instance, in the People's Democratic Party, there are similar allegations here and there. That some people are working with the APC. Some people want to turn the PDP into an arm or a branch of APC. They are doing A or they are doing B. The issues are there. It is left for the people who are in the leadership of those offices to come around and come clean and say that we didn't do it. Not just by words of mouth, but by their action.
All right. So, Ologbondiyan, do you take a look at what's happening with the PDP right now? The recent BOT meeting, the skirmishes, the clashes, the back and forth, the fights between Governor Ahmed and the FCT minister, and everything in between. How worried are you about the fate of your party?
Well, I'm very worried, like every other member of the party. And like most Nigerians who stop me on the way and say, what is happening? I'm as worried as they are. But it also boils down to the last discussion that we're having about external factors influencing situations in the opposition political parties.
How are you not able to insulate yourself from some of these factors, especially if money is involved? You have so many governors, very powerful political figures. How is PDP leadership or members susceptible to, say, for instance, incentives from outside?
You know, it's not as if, okay, when they bring this thing that they pull it or they pull people together. Okay, you work for Daily Trust TV. You understand? If somebody from another television station come to take you out of this place or come to make offer to you, and say abandon the Daily Trust television, are you going to tell the managing director?
Well, I have a contract that says I have to give them a notice.
You have to give notice of 1 month.
Right.
But if you operate in an environment of free entry and free exit, let's assume that the system permits a free entry and free exit, and you know that you have been pushed and you are moving, are you going to go and tell the MD? You understand? So we already said it that every political party who is in government desires a situation in which it will not have an opponent in an election. But has it ever worked? It hasn't. Like I said on another platform this afternoon, the implosion or the possible implosion that you are witnessing in PDP and Labour Party, it will also happen in the All Progressives Congress. It will go into the election.
Have you seen any sign?
The signs are manifest, they are there, they are everywhere. If you belong to the political class and you have people in other parties, you'll be holding discussions. Now, sometimes you not sleep in the night. We are discussing what is happening. So,
are you excited about a possible implosion of the APC as a PDP man?
Well, I don't know whether I'm excited about it.
Right.
And I don't know whether I should be excited about it.
Right.
But I know it as a fact that it's just a matter of time. That this implosion that they are creating everywhere, it will also go around.
Okay, as we wrap things up, talk to me about the idea that has been mooted for quite some time, even in the conference, for instance. The former vice president did talk about coalition alliances to wrestle power out of the hands of the APC. The Labour Party presidential candidate in 2023, Mr. Peter Obi, said, listen, coalitions or alliances aimed at power grabbing isn't going to solve the problem. Where do you stand on this whole idea of a coalition, and how do you see it shaping 2027?
You know, I brought in the issue of the guest speaker's address, which also spoke to some of these issues. And I think fundamentally what he was saying is that parties should not be created only for the purposes of grabbing power, and that good governance should be central to the issue of bringing political parties to life. And I absolutely submit to that process that the essence of creating political parties should not be for having power alone, but to ensure that whatever you do when you get that power reflect positively in the lives of the ordinary Nigerians out there. That's where I stand.
Mr. Kola Ologbondiyan, great talking to you. Thank you so much for the insight and your expert analysis. We do appreciate you for stopping by tonight.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
And that's our show for you tonight. Thank you most kindly for joining us. Daily Politics returns tomorrow live at 8 p.m. Until next time, my name is Abdullahi Ahmed. Good evening.